Okay, everybody, welcome. I'm going to take you through a tutorial for this lab exercise. And so you found this exercise on the course schedule, and hopefully you've read through it, done any of the tutorials that you felt like you might need to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and lead you through this. I'll leave the 3D stuff, just the first couple steps. I'll leave that to you. So we're going to launch in here. And start by making our folder for the project. So it's super important when you're starting a project to get organized, right? So we need to, first let's get into Google Earth. And we want to add a new folder. So sorry, where is that? Oh yeah, add. So you go to add folder. And again, so this is for Mac. So I'm using a Mac. So PC might be slightly different, but you should be able to follow along no problem. And so I'm going to call this lab exercise. What number is it? It was 2. Lab exercise 2. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click on show contents as options, radio button selection. So that means I can turn things on and off within this folder. I'm going to say okay. So under my places, I've got a new folder called lab exercises. Okay, or sorry, lab exercise 2. So now all the data that I'm going to add is going to go underneath this folder. Okay, so I'm going to keep it all together in Google Earth, right, in this desktop version of Google Earth. Also notice that I've turned on the grid. Again, this kind of shows you sort of the lat longe that you read about. Okay, so if we go back to the assignment here, and the first step is to get a topo map, right? And so you click on the USGS store link, and that takes you to a topo map of anywhere in the US, right? United States Geologic Survey. Well, my area is Shades State Park, Indiana. So I'm going to make a little map about a hike that my family and I did at Shades State Park. And so I'm zooming out just to confirm, yep, there's Indianapolis. It is in fact a place that I'm wanting to look at here. And so based off of this location, I want to order a topo map. So it's already got the boxes selected, US topo map, 7.5 by 7.5, so the highest spatial resolution topo map. So I'm going to say find products, and it's going to look for products, right? And so here we go, the current US topo maps. It also found 4 historical topo maps, but I'm just going to go for the current one. And I could have it I could download the options as a CSV file, which is really helpful when you have a whole bunch of options, or a whole bunch of hits, but one is not a big deal. But still, download as CSV, or I could download it as a text. Text is easiest for me. So I'm downloading this text here. And so I'm just going to double click. It'll open in my text reader. And I've got a PDF. So I copy this PDF because this is actually a link, right? So I copy this link to the PDF, and I get a new tab here, paste it in there. And it's interesting, you see Amazon AWS.com, that's the Amazon cloud, and so the USGS has signed a contract with Amazon to host all these topo maps. So the USGS is no longer hosting these on their private servers. It's being hosted on Amazon servers. So anyway, here's the topo map. We still haven't downloaded it. This is in our web browser, so we need to download. And you can just call this, I'm just going to call this Shades Topo. Okay. So I've now downloaded the PDF topo map. Okay. And you should know how to read a topo map. If you don't know how to read a topo map, if this doesn't make sense to you, please do come see me or try to find some YouTube videos to help you understand how to read topo maps. Okay, so I've got my topo map from the USGS. And eventually I'm going to be able to overlay this onto Google Earth, but not yet. Okay, so to be able to do that, I've got to be able to turn this PDF into a JPEG. So in the directions, it says go to this website. So there's software that it could have you download in order to do this, but since we're just doing it once here, we're just going to use some web tools. And so there's tons of other websites you could use. I just selected these. So we want to convert our PDF to a JPEG. So we're going to go into the computer and pick up our topo map. And so it's telling me, because I was just trying this, so it's telling me that I've got to wait 20 minutes to convert. So I can only convert one JPEG or one PDF every 20 minutes. But I'm not gonna pay for this service, right? So instead of waiting 20 minutes, we're just gonna use the one that I already converted. And so now, once you use that tool, you'll be able to get your JPEG. Okay? So now I've got a JPEG. All right, so I go into because I already organized these in a folder. And so here's my Shades topo map as a JPEG. And I selected lossless. I wanted the best quality. I want to retain all my quality, so I asked for the highest quality when I converted it. And so now we need to be able to put this onto the map, right? And so in order to do that, on the Google Earth. So notice we still have these borders, right? And so these borders will make it difficult to georeference as far as how Google Earth is set up, and so we're just going to need to crop those edges. And so to crop the edges, you can go ahead and, again, here's a link here, and you go ahead and upload your image. And you press continue. And then you want to crop this image, okay? So in order to do that, you choose crop selection. Oops, sorry. First, you click and drag. So I want to pick the exact corners of this map, right? So I want just the map, not any of the border. Okay, then I release. So that's my selection that I want cropped, crop selection. And now I've got, this clean image. And so it offers to make it 50% smaller. I go ahead and just say no change. Save as a JPEG. And now I want to be able to download this image after I've cropped it. And so now I can download, I can view it, so I can view what was done. Looks good to me. It's a nice, good quality image. And now I'm going to save this to my disk, so I'm downloading. All right. So now resize underscore shades topo. Right. Okay. So now we've got our JPEG, right, from our original topo PDF. Now, oops. So now we've got our JPEG that's been resized. So it's been cropped. So it's just the image. Okay. Now, our goal is to be able to overlay that image onto Google Earth. So you could, you could just slap it on there and resize it. So let me show you that option, which I don't recommend that option. So you could do add, or even I can use the button here, add image overlay. And this is going to be our topo map. And so we need to go find it on our system. Okay. So this means it's loading. So it's a decently large sized image, right? And you want to be able to change the opacity here so you can actually see what you're doing under the image. And so it gives you, so you could try to use the river. But I don't recommend doing that. Instead, what I want you to do is to be able to actually use the latitude and longitude from the corners. And so to do that, we want to go to our original PDF. Okay, and our original PDF has latitude and longitude at the corners. So we've got 87 degrees, 7 minutes, 30 seconds, and that's west, right? And then 40 degrees north, right? That's the latitude and longitude for this corner of the map. Okay, and just the same over here, 87 degrees west and 40 degrees north. And in the corners here too, you've got the coordinates for those corners as well. So you've got the lat and longe for the 4 corners of this topographic map. It's called a quadrat. So, quadrangle. What you're going to do now is you're going to take a piece of paper or use a file on use a Word or something on your computer, and you want to jot down the lat longe of each of these corners in this order. The first corner you want is lower left, so get the lat longe for the lower left. Second corner, lower right. Third corner, upper right. Fourth corner, upper left. So you've got the lat and longe for those 4 corners. You get them off your PDF, your original PDF. And now you're able to use these to georeference that image. So it'll actually fit onto Google Earth, right? So it'll know where it's supposed to be. So the way we do that is, let's get back into Google Earth. And we are where we were before here. So let's do an image overlay just like before. We'll call it Shades Topo. Again, we'll find our cropped image. And it's loading. Remember, those arrows just means it's loading. Okay, it's up. Let's increase the opacity again so we can see what we're doing. So you can see here's the river here, and then it's much smaller here, which means this is going to have to expand, stretch out quite a bit in order to fit, right? So, and let's do location. So we don't want to use this style of location. We want to convert to lat longe quad, because again, quadrangle is what we're using. So convert to lat longe quad, and here is where we're able to enter in our information. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So and just so you know, it's a very specific and weird order of these lat longe coordinates, and that's why I had you write it down in that order. The first corner is the lower left, second corner, lower right, third corner, upper right, fourth corner, upper left. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add in 87, 730. These are, again, you're going to have different ones, right? So these are mine that I got from my map. This is just straight up 87. And so you can see the map spread out as we tell it where its corners are supposed to go, right? And then this is 87, 730 again. Yep. So the map is spreading out when we tell it where its corners are supposed to go. Okay, and then this one is 39, 52, 30. Okay. This is the same one, 39, 52. 30. And this is 40. And this is 40. Okay, so hopefully that river lines up, which it looks like it does. So I can play with this opacity a little bit until I get it where I want it. For me, that's about right. All this is fine. You just press OK. So there you go. You've now georeferenced your first image overlay. So it's not going to be absolutely perfect. You can already tell, right? We've got a little bit of offset here on the roads, and that's fine. So that just tells me that our original corners, right, weren't absolutely perfectly right on, but it's close enough. And so we've got our topo, which is inside the lab exercise. So we're sitting good. So we've got our topo georeferenced. We've got our, and we downloaded our topo, we georeferenced it, and we're now ready to move on to the next step in the lab, and I will describe how to do that in the next video. So hang tight.